All right, we are live on the League of Municipalities Facebook page. Hello, everyone. My name's Todd Schmidt. I'm the village administrator in the only Waunakee in the world. I'm also really honored to be serving as League president here this year. And today, continuing the series on humility in local government. And I'm joined by a great friend. Nancy, aren't you glad it's Friday?
Yeah, I wish.
I do too. I could really use this to be Friday today, but it's not. Hump
Nope.
day, at least. But well, hi Nancy.
Hi, Todd.
Nancy Zastrow and I met each other way back when I was a young little buck administrator with the city of Milton in the early 2000s. It might have been like 2002 when I came to Milton, and you were the city clerk at the time. You've had, can you give us just a little teeny snippet? What's been your career progression here in Wisconsin?
I've got quite a lengthy. I ran for my town of Watertown treasurer position as a write-in back in 1989, beat the incumbent 3-1. And then from there, I worked at the county.
3-1, not like percentage, like 3 votes.
No, 3 times. I had 3 times more.
Oh, I thought you meant like 3 votes to 1 vote.
No. 3 times as many votes as what the incumbent
Okay.
had. Talk about being a youngster, I was. Then I worked at the county for a while, worked a short stint at the city of Oconomowoc, and then went to the city of Milton for 12 years. Then went to village of Pewaukee for 3 years, did a little stint in the village of Cambridge, and now I came back home to the town of Ixonia, which is the only Ixonia in the United States also.
Wow. In the world or just the United States?
No, in the world.
All right. That's impressive. So, obviously the League of Municipalities represents cities and villages, and you are in a town today, but you have really solid experience having worked for local government of all sorts, even the county level. So we've got someone with experience here today to share some wise words on humility. I'm glad you're here, and I consider you among many things, friend, fellow coworker, but somebody who I really respect and look up to, and frankly feel as you being someone who taught me a lot of lessons about seriously about being grounded and humble in doing the work that we do. So I'm glad you're going to share some stuff with us. So let's get right to it.
Okay.
Let's start with a story. To give us a story. Give us a little example of when taking a humble approach to your work sort of surprised you as achieving really good results because of the humility that you brought to that situation.
I thought about this a little bit. There's several things. One of the things that humbled me was when I did run as a write-in candidate and beat the incumbent. That kind of brought me down. Some people it would have taken it the other way, but I was very humbled that people trusted me. But then when I went to Milton and was clerk, and I had employees working under me, I wanted them to respect me, but also work together with me. And I think one of the things that I always emulated with them was we're not perfect, and I make mistakes, and if they make a mistake, just be honest and we will get through it. And I remember a couple of the staff that I worked with thought that was very humbling for them to be able to relate to me that I was not above them. I honestly and openly, if I did make a mistake on something, I would own up to it. And that was humbling to me, and I think also my staff at that time.
Good. Like you never had to share a humbling story. Oh my gosh, I forgot to put the notice in the paper. That happened.
No, never, Todd. Never.
I think I remember us having a couple of conversations like that.
Exactly. Yep.
Very human accidents, that's for sure.
Exactly. It wasn't done intentionally. And I think if you just own up to your mistakes, if you make them, take responsibility, that's very humbling. You know, we may have a title that makes us be of authority, but that doesn't mean that we don't make mistakes.
Right. Good. Well, I bet maybe you've heard, I know at least that your husband likes country music, right?
Yes.
So maybe you do too, but perhaps you've heard the Lord, It's Hard to Be Humble song, maybe.
Hmm. Hmm.
And certainly God knows that we're getting better looking each day, right, Nancy?
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
But what would you say has made it hard for you to be humble with the work that you do for those you serve, citizens, employees, whatever?
I think what has made it more difficult nowadays is social media and also just society in general. Um, People have become more demanding and want us to be more accountable for everything that we do. And then they go on to social media to criticize or point out anything that they feel you've done incorrectly. So it's very humbling not to want to go back and respond to those Facebook posts or react in a manner that isn't reflective of my personality. It's very humbling to just sit back and accept some of those comments and know that they're just venting, and who knows what kind of day they're having versus the day that I'm having, and just take a step back and take a look at the whole picture.
Well, here's the challenge, though. The hard part is that that's not your human initial gut instinct. When you
Correct.
see something that's like an attack, you're like, we human people immediately go into like this defensive role. That's not easy to then calm, put that into check.
Exactly. Exactly. And Todd, you and I've had this talk many times. I have a very strong faith, and I'll take a step back, say a little prayer, and know that I've got God sitting there next to me, guiding me through whatever comes out of my mouth, whatever my actions are. And my philosophy in life is to treat others the way they treat me. And so if they are upset or they're yelling at me, just try to de-escalate the situation, and show them respect, like what I would want to receive from them also.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good words. All right. Here's our last question. This is going pretty quick, and we can, maybe we got a couple extra minutes to work on this one. But okay, so you've got a few years under your belt. You've shared those dates with us already, so I won't be guilty of revealing such things. But what are some techniques? I would also say that maybe to the people who perhaps prayer isn't their thing, let's also say a few deep breaths go a long way. Or
Correct.
going and taking a walk, or put a full 24 hours between what got you riled up before you maybe decide to take on reacting. So that's sort of a technique. But what are other techniques that you've learned in your career on how to overcome things that make it hard to be humble?
Well, you've touched on a lot of them. I like to gather as much information about situations or things that are brought before me. So if somebody comes and they are upset about a situation or the way a vote went, I'll try to gather as much information as I can. My thought has always been to try to overwhelm them with information to help them understand why a decision was made, or why there's a law, or why there's a rule, or why you can't do things. But all of those things can be done to our constituents in a manner that is respectful to everyone. And I think a lot of it still goes to the way that you present yourself. And if you present yourself in a professional manner, an understanding manner, I think that that's one of the key words is I understand, or I want to try to help. That kind of de-escalates a lot of situations, but sometimes that isn't what our human nature wants to come out of our mouth. You know, we often want to say not nice things. So you really have to sit back and like you said, take a deep breath and just kind of go and use your best thoughts.
One thing I remember about you, so I had the Milton City Hall was situated, it's moved now, but it's situated in a way where the administrator's office was kind of to the side by the entrance, and then the front desk kind of went long away from it. So if I was sitting right, I could sort of see down the main customer interaction desk. And you know, you mentioned that it's tough when you hear people on social media kind of attacking, but I remember the technique you used when somebody would come in person and was riled up. You know, and it's a little harder to think on your feet. You know, you might not be able to spend some time to consider how you're going to respond, and you might not have the information that you were just talking about to give them the answer. And I visually remember seeing you when someone would be on the other side of the reception area getting riled up and angry. I remember you would put your hands like this, you would go like this, and you would set it on the countertop. Am I right? You'd kind of go
Yeah.
like this, and you'd sort of put yourself into kind of like you'd get into like a rested position, like, you know, okay, you kind of go, and you like sit there like this and sort of lean towards them a little bit. And you'd start to choose words, as I would put it, words that are professional and courteous. You know,
Okay.
I'm, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but I remember you know, referring to them as sir or ma'am,
Mhm.
you know, saying you're sorry, which doesn't mean that you've screwed up, but just saying that you're sorry that they're feeling the way they are. I remember hearing you give sort of some of that reflection to folks, and you know, those are some of the lessons I learned from you, that even when you didn't have the perfect words to say, or you didn't have a chance to think about it, you did take a very professional approach to the folks who were not happy.
Well, thank you. I've always kind of tried very hard to be that person, to give that sincerity. It wasn't ever and isn't ever a false sincerity. I want to try to help them, and you know, you're kind of making me very humble right now just by saying that we haven't worked together for how many years, and you still remember those things that I did, and I kind of did them naturally, that I didn't have to think about doing it that way. It was all done with sincerity and dealing with the public. But like I said, now with social media, it just makes it a little bit harder. You don't get that one-on-one time, or the face-to-face, and you're just seeing words on the computer. You know, and that's what makes it more challenging, because it's harder. It's harder to respond to those kind of things, and even if it's a question that comes via computer or Facebook, it's very hard to respond to it with the same empathy that you would do if you did it in person.
Hmm. Well, even though you say that you did those things by you know, like second nature, the choice you make still was to maintain composure. That's,
Yes.
you know, that's a choice, and I think you did that. I have times, they happen more frequently than I want, when I regret um, losing my composure in
Mhm.
a public setting or a one-on-one setting, and it doesn't take too long to realize the error of that way. So even just the lesson that that we're providing here of maintaining composure is a step towards showing humility towards others. So
Correct.
good
Nope.
stuff. Well, this was great, Nancy. I think we filled about 10 minutes, but as much as I enjoyed the conversation, I really enjoy seeing you because we really haven't seen each other for a very long time.
No, we haven't. It's great to see you too. And I'm honored that you asked me to participate with you. We have lots of good memories and we did work well as a team. And that also helps too. And that keeps us humble. And that kept us, if one of us felt the other one was getting a little out of sorts, we were able to bring each other back. So we had a good working relationship, and I miss you, and I appreciate the opportunity. Hi to all my league friends. I miss you guys coming to conferences and stuff, but feels good to be home in Ixonia.
And to the league friends who might be watching, especially those who know you, Nancy, let's be sure to put a little note down below the video. Give some love back to Nancy. She showed us all some good examples in her career, and thank you for sort of bringing the town of Ixonia and a town government to the league forum here today. We are friends.
Well, and it also just reiterates, I have those kind of customers in a town, just like you do in a city and village. They don't just pick and choose,
Humans will be human regardless.
Humans will be humans, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
well, this was great. Thank you, Nancy. Also, thank you to the league team, Elizabeth and Gail, for helping run the stuff behind the scenes, which they've been doing since I've been running this series. So everyone remain in humility in your work. It will do good for you and it will do good for the people that we serve. And until next time, be well, everyone.